Drake Baldwin officially received his Rookie of the Year award over the weekend at an award banquet in New York. Who's going to be the next Brave to win one? I'll tell you next. Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today, your source for daily news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, award-winning baseball writer and podcaster. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball, and you can find all my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, because this is both a podcast and a newsletter. We're proudly part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app or go to FanDuel.com to get started today. For those of you who were busy with the winter storm over the weekend, Braves catcher Drake Baldwin officially received his Rookie of the Year award at the BBWAA award banquet in New York City on Saturday night. And like we've talked about before, the Braves are regulars at this award banquet really in total. If you think about Drake Baldwin was there in 2025 for Rookie of the Year. Chris Sale was there in 2024 for the Cy Young. Ronald Acuna Jr. was there in 2023 for MVP. Michael Harris II was there for Rookie of the Year in 2022. Ronald was also there in 2018 for Rookie of the Year. And then Atlanta's had a lot of runners-up for Rookie of the Year, right? Spencer Strider in 22, Soroka in 2019. Ian Anderson got votes in 2020. But I think next year might be the first year in a while where the Braves don't have a Rookie of the Year candidate. And it's probably because of the way the roster is constructed. So let's break down why it's not probably going to happen in 26. And then look at the next time Atlanta does win one, right? From the pitchers, who could it be? From the position players, who might it be? And the reason for this year why you're just not going to see the Braves on there, I think it's the fact that this is a very veteran-laden team, and a lot of their ads this winter were of older players. And typically a lot of your ads are going to be older players unless you're making trades, right? A lot of your ads are going to be free agents. Those are typically guys closer to or over the age of 30. But even there, Atlanta brought in some older players in Robert Suarez, brought back Raisel Iglesias, brought back Mike Yastrzemski, and all of that. All of those signings, all of that stuff kind of shows us that Atlanta is in a win now mode. The Braves are trying to contend in 2026. And what's wild, if you think about it, Atlanta was one of the 10 oldest teams in baseball last year already. And a lot of the players that they brought in were veterans who replaced some young injury replacements. And they're probably going to be even older next year. I'm not just inherently saying old teams are bad. The Dodgers have the oldest team in baseball, and they've won the last 2 World Series. I'm just pointing out they're not young. Even with all the injuries last year, Atlanta never really went full youth movement. The Braves gave just 5 players their debut in 2026. One of the lowest totals in all of baseball was Drake Baldwin all year, right? He was on the opening day roster. He never went down. But outside of that, Nathan Wiles, Roldy Munoz, Didier Fuentes, Hayden Harris all debuted. They combined for 20 and a third innings. So despite all of the injuries in the pitching staff, Atlanta never really pivoted to just wholesale bringing in the prospects. The only 2 teams that had less major league debuts than Atlanta last year. The Yankees and Phillies had 4 each. They're usually among the oldest teams in baseball. Philly is the only team with an average age greater than 30 for both their hitters and their pitchers. Dodgers pitchers are actually below the age of 30 on average. And Philly's position player group is like the second oldest position player group in baseball. The Yankees last year had the 6th oldest position player group, 6th oldest pitching group and 9th oldest position player group. But if you think about it, this kind of makes sense, right? Contending teams inherently are going to have more veterans. And I think more importantly, they're going to have what I call less runway. it is harder to give a prospect multiple starts on a pitcher or multiple at-bats every single day for a position player if you're trying to contend if they're not immediately successful, right? Spencer Schwellenbach was successful very quickly. He had like a 5-start stretch where he was really trying to figure out how to get guys out a second and third time. And then from that point on, he's been fantastic. But outside of that, so many rookies struggle the first time they come up. And like, I remember talking to John Smoltz on this podcast about a year and a half or 2 years ago. And we talked about this. About like in 1988, him and Tom Glavine combined to go 9 for 24 and each had ERAs over 4.5. They were bad. Like they were not good that first year. But the Braves let them play all year because the team ended up being 54 and 106. They were in 6th place in the NL West. That's back when they were in the NL West, not the East. They weren't expected to be competitive that season. They still fired Chuck Tanner. They were like 12 and 27. They fired the manager. But outside of that, like there was no expectations they were going to compete that first year. And the very next year, again, they won a combined 26 games. The team was much better. And they were better for getting that experience. But Atlanta's not in a position to let a bunch of prospects get that experience. And so if you think about the path to Rookie of the Year for the Braves, typically what has to happen? It has to be, in the case of Drake Baldwin, an injury to the starter at the position that gets him to the opening day roster, and then him hit well enough to stick all season. Because remember, Atlanta had the option to send Drake Baldwin back to Gwinnett and let Chadwick Tromp be the backup to Sean Murphy. And instead, Atlanta DFA'd Chadwick Tromp, lost him on waivers to keep Baldwin. So the injury opened up a spot, and then Baldwin was good enough to stay up all year. Michael Harris in 2022. Your starting center fielder for almost the entire, up until Michael debuted in late May, was Adam Duvall. They had a revolving door in left. They called up Harris. Harris takes over center. Duvall moves to left. And from that point on, Harris hits well enough to stick around. Duvall actually got lost for the season in late July. But Harris was up and hitting well, and he stayed up there, right? That's the pattern that this takes. But if you look at this year's version of the roster, it's hard to see how that would happen. Because we've talked about it kind of ad nauseum at this point. This is the deepest roster Alex Anthopoulos has built in probably his time in Atlanta. And I know that it doesn't feel that way because you had a major injury. You lost Ha-Seong Kim already. But this is a very deep roster. You have multiple starting caliber outfielders that you can use. There are options all over the diamond. Infield, outfield, you've got pieces. You've got guys who you can use. Yes, you're already having to put one of those pieces, Mauricio Dubon, in the everyday lineup, but this is still a very, very deep roster. The fact that you had a starter at shortstop when you lost Ha-Seong Kim was a big deal, right? And so it's going to be very difficult for any sort of rookie to get into the lineup at all soon enough to make an impact. Never mind the fact that they have to get it there and then perform. Every year almost, it feels like we see guys come up and they're maybe not ready, and it takes the second time they're up or the third time they're up before they really stick. AJ Smith-Shawver didn't really stick until last year. It was fantastic last year until he got hurt. Year Fuentes didn't stick this year in 4 starts. Herson Waldrop didn't stick last year in 2 starts. But when he came back up this year, he was a different dude. He had changed a lot of what he did, and he stuck. And then he pitched just enough to lose rookie eligibility. So he's not a Rookie of the Year candidate for 2026. He's ineligible for the award. I wrote more about that over in the newsletter, by the way, if you're curious about that, bravestoday.com, talking about Atlanta calling guys up early, and how they end up popping some of these options too soon. But if Atlanta does get a Rookie of the Year, either next year or the year after, right? 27, 28, whenever it might be, who would it be? Let's talk about the pitchers next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Grand Slam Getaways. If you've ever dreamed of going on the ultimate baseball road trip, this one's for you. Grand Slam Getaways offers bucket list baseball bus trips designed for fans who love the game and want to travel in style. All these trips depart from Atlanta. They include field level tickets, 3-star hotels, daily breakfast, a full slate of ballparks, and other activities. And each trip includes at least 2 Braves road games, plus appearances by former MLB players, giveaways, and fun side trips. One of them is going to the Louisville Slugger Museum, one of them is going to the Bull Durham filming location, and much more. So whether you're retired, you're a baseball nut, you're looking for a parent-child summer adventure, this is a stress-free way to hit the road with fellow fans. There are 3 trips to choose from: May to Florida, June to the Midwest, and July to the Northeast. They're all timed to match up with Braves road games in the area. So reserve your spot now with a small deposit. Head to grandslam-getaways.com and make this summer a Grand Slam. Check it out now, grandslam-getaways.com, to let the baseball adventure begin. Welcome back to Braves Today. Lindsay Crosby. Let's talk about pitchers for Rookie of the Year. Because the issue you have, and it may not be 2026 guys, okay? We've talked about this kind of ad nauseum at this point, but you have so many starting pitchers that don't have options. So your starting rotation: Chris Sale, Spencer Schwellenbach, Spencer Strider, Ronaldo Lopez. Those 4 are pretty much as locked in as you're going to get. Candidates for the 5th spot include Bryce Elder, who's out of options. Again, probably shouldn't be out of options. He barely ran over last year. I talked about that on the newsletter this morning. Joey Wentz, who's out of options. Grant Holmes, who's out of options. You already saw the Braves lose Jose Suarez. They tried to slip him through waivers. Baltimore caught on to that. Baltimore claimed him. So you've already seen Atlanta try to take one of the 4 guys that's out of options that AA said is too good to just throw away. You've already seen one of those guys go. And so even if a guy goes down in spring, it doesn't feel like you have the runway for a prospect to come up. Like, the hard part here is finding the playing time for them soon enough to be in contention for Rookie of the Year. Because even when even when a guy gets up, he still has to pitch really well for Rookie of the Year, because normally it's a position player award. Okay? 2024, 2 pitchers, Luis Gil and Paul Skeens, win it. In the AL, it was kind of a down year for rookies. Colton Cowser hit 242. He was the primary runner-up. He hit 242 for Baltimore, was worth 3.1 WAR. Luis Gil was worth 3 WAR. Had a 3.50 ERA in 151 innings. He made 29 starts. So he was up for almost the entire season. And because no other position player came in and was good enough, he ended up winning the award. It was actually kind of close. I think the points, it was like 106 to 101. He barely kind of won it. With a good, not great, but a good season. Paul Skeens, on the flip side, absurdly dominant. 196 ERA in 133 innings, a whip of .947, 170 strikeouts. He ran away with it. 23 of 30 first place votes. But Shota Imanaga had a good season, 29 starts, 173 innings, 291 ERA, and he finished in 4th place with exactly 4 points. That's it. It's just so hard for a starting pitcher prospect to win. You have to come up very early in the year and be up almost the entire season. Think back to the Drake Baldwin versus Cade Horton conversation. A lot of the Cubs fans were arguing Cade Horton should win. He threw 118 innings with a 2.67 ERA, And he got 9 of 30 first place votes. It wasn't close. He would have had to have thrown 150 or 160 innings to even have a shot at catching Drake Baldwin. And of course, he didn't do it. You go back to some of the other pitchers who have actually won it, excluding Devin Williams in 2020, right? It's a weird season, 60 games. He threw 27 innings, allowed like 1 run. We're not looking at that. Michael Fulmer in 2016 was the last time a starting pitcher prospect won Rookie of the Year. 11-7, 3.06 ERA in 159 innings. Before that, it was Jacob deGrom in 2014. So you would have had to found a Braves prospect who was going to come up early, was going to be absurdly dominant. Again, he didn't have to be amazing. Luis Gil wasn't amazing in 24, but there was also nobody else worthy of the award of the American League. If you have anybody worthy of the award of the American League, which 2024, I'll remind you, Jackson Merrill was very good for the Padres. Jackson Merrill hit .292 with an .826 OPS, 24 home runs, 16 stolen bases, and played like Gold Glove caliber defense at a position he had never played before. But Paul Skeens was absurdly elite and won that. Shota Imanaga had a really good season. We'd have taken that season in a heartbeat. And he barely even got votes. Never mind, no first place votes. He barely got votes, period. So, does J.R. Ritchie have the stuff to have a Luis Gil type season, have a 3.50 ERA, and potentially win Rookie of the Year? Yeah, I'd argue he does. I'd argue his stuff is good enough to match what Luis Gil did over almost a full season, 150 innings. The problem is, what is J.R. Ritchie's path to playing time that quickly? Let's say you lose one starter in spring training. I don't care who it is. Okay, great. Guess what? That means you probably have either Bryce Elder and Grant Holmes in the opening day rotation, or you have Bryce Elder and Hurston Waldrop in the opening day rotation. And in the bullpen, you've got Grant Holmes and you've got Joey Wentz. And so the first time you need a starter or two, you've got guys there to do it. You probably have to lose 3 starters or lose enough relievers where you either need to keep Holmes back there or put Lopez back there for J.R. Ritchie to get a chance. And so, I think pitcher is going to take a while. I think it's going to take a while because it's going to be hard to find an opportunity for a Braves pitcher to get in the rotation on opening day. Okay? It's possible. 2027, as of now, you're not going to have Chris Sale. I still believe he's going to sign an extension. I think Atlanta probably gives him 2 years, 44, 45 million, whatever. Maybe it's a 1-1 or something like that. I still think he'll sign an extension. But as of now, he's not. So you won't have him. But guess what? Barring injury, you'll have Spencer Swellenbach. You'll have Spencer Strider. You'll have Hurston Waldrop. You'll have Ronaldo Lopez. You'll have Bryce Elder. You'll have Grant Holmes. There's so many options. And again, guys are going to go down. Guys are going to get hurt. But even assuming you don't add anybody to that group, you already have an opening day rotation figured out for 27. After 2027, you lose Ronaldo Lopez. The final year of his deal is 27. Okay, at that point, maybe J.R. Ritchie's in the rotation every day. Maybe your Dieter Fuentes is. It's just I don't think Fuentes is going to win a Rookie of the Year award next year because he spent most of this winter rehabbing from that shoulder injury. And it's a different approach to a season when you're rehabbing, trying to get healthy, than when it is when you're trying to get better. Chris Sale talked about this in 2024. So the first time he had gone into a season or into an off season, having a normal and healthy off season, he was able to focus on getting better, not just getting back. And he was Cy Young winner. Dieter Fuentes doesn't profile as a guy that's going to be able to do that because he's trying to get healthy. J.R. Ritchie will if everything goes right for Atlanta, J.R. Ritchie might get to debut a little bit late. And then hopefully he keeps rookie eligibility so he's eligible for 2027. The Braves didn't do this with Hurston Waldrop. They needed to pull him or send him down one start early for him to have rookie eligibility this year. They didn't do it. In a lost season, they blew his rookie eligibility late in the year, let him make that final start or two for a team that was already out of the postseason. So, honestly, looking at these guys from a talent perspective, J.R. Ritchie has the talent, but does he have the opportunity? Does he have the runway? Early in the season, I don't see it. But can you possibly set things up where he preserves rookie eligibility for 2027? Maybe. But they have to be intentional about it. They have to deliberately choose to do that. And with Hurston Waldrop, they didn't do it. So I genuinely think it may take a minute for the Braves to have a Rookie of the Year candidate from the pitching side. It may be a little while before it happens. Maybe it's Owen Murphy in 2027. Or maybe it's one of the guys behind him in 2028. Maybe it's a Cam Caminiti. Maybe it's a Garrett Bowman. One of those younger guys. It's going to take a while, though. Position players, this is, believe it or not, a little more interesting. That conversation's a little more intriguing about, is there going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate coming up in the future? We'll talk about that next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The the Super Bowl is set. I have some good friends who are New England Patriots fans. They do not think they have a shot at winning this thing. I don't necessarily think they were expecting to even be there, but they do not believe they have a chance to win this thing. But if you want in on the action on FanDuel, this is the final chance for football, obviously. And what I love is they have all of the props. Right now, there's not a ton listed, right? Who's going to be MVP? What's the exact result? All that stuff. But as the week progresses, they're going to add a bunch of stuff in there. Everything from the anthem to the first score, all of those fun prop bets that are honestly the best part, if you don't have a rooting interest, the best part of the Super Bowl. So go check it out, FanDuel.com, or download the FanDuel app today. Final segment of Braves Today, Lindsay Crosby. Let's talk about the position players. Because up front, I don't see any rookie for the Braves breaking into this list in 2026. Honestly, if you look at position players that are going to debut for the Braves in 2026, the only options that I think you could maybe see is Jim Jarvis. And even there, I don't think he'll get enough time to make an impact in the 2026 Rookie of the Year race. Nacho Alvarez is no longer rookie eligible. They have Aaron Schunk in the minors. He's a non-roster invitee, middle infielder, right? Plays short, plays second, plays third. Former second-round pick by Colorado in 2019. But he also has enough service time where he does not have rookie eligibility. It doesn't look like in 26 there will be any position players. I don't see a path. You may debut 3 dudes total all year. And I think they're all going to be guys like just somebody who's going to be up as the final spot on the bench, right? Maybe you have a Luke Waddell up for a little bit, something like that. But in 2027, and it's probably not going to happen, but I think in 2027 is the first time you would see a guy, a position player, debut and be a Rookie of the Year candidate if everything works. I think you'll see Jim Jarvis by then. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's going to be good enough for Rookie of the Year. I like Alex Lodis. I like Alex Lodis a lot. I'm really excited the Braves were able to get Alex Lodis in the draft. I thought he would have gone sooner than he did. I don't think Alex Lodis is an exciting enough player, right? Has a high enough ceiling here to win Rookie of the Year. He's more of like a high floor guy. I think he's probably, he could be a power hitting shortstop if everything breaks. But I think he's one of those guys that he's a jack of all trades. He's not a master of anything. But John Heel, that's a conversation worth having. Whenever he makes it up, could be 27, probably 28. And if everything goes right, he has enough time to break in 27 and then turn around and be an everyday starter to open 28. He's got the tools. He's exciting and he's fun. The slash line's not exciting, right? 252, 348, 366, right? But contact rate, high 70s. In zone whiff rate. So how many pitches in the strike zone did he swing and miss at? 14%. Very low, especially for a 19-year-old player. Strike zone discipline, some of the best in the system. And it's not just me saying that. Other people are saying that. Baseball America's saying that. MLB Pipeline saying that. While the power has not fully come, and I've talked about this a little bit. I think last week we talked some prospects a little bit. Like the 90th percentile exit velocity, the average exit velo isn't necessarily there. He's hitting the ball on the ground a lot. The max exit velo has been decent. I believe last I saw it was around 111 or so, which is respectable, pretty good for a 19-year-old. And the speed being as good as it is. A lot of people have called him a 70-grade runner. I think you're going to be lucky if he hits 10, 15 home runs. But if he hits 10, 15 home runs and steals 40 bags while playing good enough shortstop and hits in the high twos, I feel like he's going to be a pretty good Rookie of the Year candidate. I feel like any shortstop that's up for the entire year and can hit decently is a pretty good Rookie of the Year candidate. What's going to hurt him is going to be the power. Gunnar Henderson won it in 2023. He had 28 home runs and 10 stolen bases. And guys who did put up high stolen base totals, Corbin Carroll won it in 23 as an outfielder in the National League with 54 stolen bases. He also had 25 home runs. He also hit 285. I think a Gunnar Henderson type line, 255 average, doesn't do it if Gil hits 10 home runs in a season and steals 25, 30 bags. I think if he's stealing 40 bags or more, like a Corbin Carroll did, and he has the high average, Carroll hit 285 that year. You could see an argument for John Hill getting votes and being up there. If he has a season like Michael Harris did, Michael Harris hit 297. Now he had 20 stolen bases and 19 home runs. If you have 10 home runs and 35, 40 stolen bases, maybe that's good enough. But I just don't think you have the impact on the way from some of the other shortstops. I don't think Alex Lodis does that for you. I don't think Cody Miller does that for you. Because you're looking for that exemplary standout tool, and you need a guy who's going to hit for a high enough average to offset the lack of power production. Home runs are sexy. People pay attention to home runs. Part of the criticism of Drake Baldwin, and I'm not saying it's warranted, some of the criticism of Drake Baldwin was he only had 19 home runs. Your two lowest home run totals for Rookie of the Year since 2021 have been Braves, who both hit 19 homers. Outside of that, it's Gunnar hit 28. Nick Kurtz hit 36 this year. Corbin Carroll hit 25. Julio Rodriguez hit 28. And then the guys who hit 20, 21, things like that, Randy Arozarena, he also stole 20 bags and hit 274. Jonathan India had 21 homers and hit 269. It's not having that power, not having that impact is going to hurt John Hill. If I was throwing darts at other guys outside of shortstop for the Braves, I would look at some of these outfielders. Patrick Closey had a great Arizona Fall League. There's a really great piece over on BravesToday.com from my friend Michael McDermott, who lives out in Arizona, talked to him in the Arizona Fall League, wrote a piece up for us all about some of the swing changes that he made that was helping him elevate the ball, pull the ball in the air. Ball knowers know the best way to get power or to get power production from middling power is pull the ball in the air. Logan Braunschweig, I've heard a lot of great things about his early time in the in the minors. He was a 9th round pick last year out of UAB, but I could see if everything breaks perfectly right for him, there being something there. They're still high on the changes Isaiah Drake made last year, right? He rebounded from a poor 2024. There's a couple intriguing options in the minors. And honestly, I think one of these guys might have better runway to win Rookie of the Year than the pitchers do. Simply because Atlanta's got so many pitching options. You have to get in the lineup early, and you have to stay there. The Braves have a lot of position player talent coming off the books after 2027. Jurickson Profar's gone. Mike Yastrzemski's gone. Like, Ozzie Albies, his final option year is up. There's a lot of guys who are leaving and a lot of positions that are going to come open. So there's going to be playing time for hitters, and they could be in the Rookie of the Year mix as soon as 2028. If I had to put money on anybody, I'd say it's a position player in 28 over a pitcher. But we'll see. That'll do it for Braves Today on Monday, January 26th. Do me a favor. If you're listening on audio, a 5-star review would be fantastic. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live, we drop the next episode, and all that good stuff. Until next time, this has been Braves Today.